Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara. Guru Sakshat Parabrahmam Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryandam Vande Guru Parampara. Om Sakana Vavatu Sakana Punaktu Sakaviryam Karvavakai Tejas Vina Vadida Mustamavat Vishavake. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Yogena Chittasya Padena Vacham Malam Sarirasya Cha Vaitikena Yopa Karotam Muninam Pravaram Muninam Patanchalim Pranchalim Manadosmi. Good morning. So I think we left in the last class the 11th Sutra of the Sadhana Padha, Dhyana Heyasta Vrityaha. So just to recap why we are at this Sutra, having come to the chapter 2 from chapter 1, in chapter 1, the Samadhi Padha, we understood the Chitta Vritti Nirodham, or the tranquil mind, which Patanjali calls it reflected in the Samadhis of various kind. For us, the motive is not remain in Samadhi, it is to get the tranquil mind to pursue the truth. And he said, Abhyasa Vairagyanam Tannirodhaka. So you must have the Abhyasa Vairagyam with the Ishvara Pranidhanam. So we understood Ishvara Pranidhanam means the approach to the worldly life in which we bring Ishvara's presence in everything we do. Which means the task we do is Ishvararpana. The outcome that we face in the life is Ishvara Prasada. This itself is a very major change in us. If we can just do that. Of course, to do that is we need to have a little bit more sadhanas and the vairagyam, which is a monumental capability to acquire and sustain. Vairagyam is not hate, not simply renunciating it for the sake of disowning it, but a dispassionate focus on the goal. It is a positive attribute, Vairagyam is. It's not a negative attribute. That means be purposeful and only go after those things that matter. Now, this definition can make it pretty loose, but in Vedantic context, what matters is the Purushartham, which is moksha. So when moksha is the goal, don't forget, moksha is not dying, right? Moksha is living freely, the freedom underlined, free from everything, even free from the so-called love. So we saw all that. And then abhyasam. Abhyasam is this practice to be continuously endured. And then we surrendered to Patanjali. I fully understand all this, but I don't have an ability to start on this process, and even if I start, to sustain this process. So give me something more. Then he started this Sadhana Padha. Sadhana Padam is methods which are given to us step by step to get into this ladder of progress. Then he said, Kripa, your life has to change into Kriya Yoga. So if you convert your life to Kriya Yogam, in other words, if you run your life as Karma Yogi, in other words, you only do things that are right with the right attitude. The right things are virtuous things, good things, correct things, which you learn from elders and the scholars. And the right attitude is basically reflecting that you are able to do it as Ishvararpanam and Ishvara Prasad. And therefore, Patanjali gave, to cultivate this, you also follow certain value changes. Maitri, Karuna, all those changes. And keep on repeating it, because without, you're not going to touch the Patanjali Yoga when you finish the classes, but it has to be in your mind. So we saw all that. Yes, I can change value. I don't need any more scriptural guidance. I am reasonably right individuals. I understand value systems in life. Therefore, I'm going to be friendly, nice, kind, try to do karma yoga, choose the right attitude. But help me how I can polish it. Patanjali said, the right attitude requires a control over pancha klesha. So he's talked about the 5 kleshas. Avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha. So when they say it, it should come in your mind and evaluate automatically. And you know exactly what they are. Avidya is a kshetram for everything else. Asmita is the I-ness. Raga, dvesha is like and dislike, attachment and aversion. Abhinivesham is the fear or holding on to the dogma, holding on to what we think is truth. So all these are pancha klesha. Then Kriya Yoga is going to, he did not say destroy it. He said he's going to do Tanu Karanam. Remember what is Tanu Karanam means? Weakening. Like if you want to cut a huge tree, you don't start with the root. You go and cut the branches, take the loads off. So what the Kriya Yoga does, therefore, is weaken all your kleshas. That is why truly Kriya Yoga is not the end of all. It's a very important tool, but it is important to help us to weaken the kleshas. So he said it very implicitly, but it came to obvious fact when he read the next sutra, where he said it is only touching the sthula part of it. So what is sthula part of klesha? Klesha that manifests that you know it is a klesha. I got angry, I got jealous. No, I provoked this kind of a disdain, grief. You can capture those things, tangible act of your words coming out of certain thoughts, giving grief, klishtaha vrittihi, gross, sthulam. How does Kriya Yoga remove that? Of course, you have to really practice it and prove it. But theoretically, yes, it is. Because what Kriya Yoga? Good value system. Be kind. When somebody is doing good things, be happy about it. When somebody is suffering, be compassionate about it. Now, if all this attitude changes, your klishtaha vrittihi changes to aklishta. You see? So therefore, the Kriya Yoga is perfect for us to take up. And we should start practicing it now. But we know that that is going to only weaken the gross klesha. We finish up to that. Therefore, there is a sukshma klesha. Again, we argued why there should be a sukshma. Then we borrowed our learning from Vedanta. Of course, it's common sense. Vedanta is common sense. But it is kept uncommonly. Therefore, the language is paradoxical. Therefore, it looks mystical. But the most literal truth is Vedanta. Anyway, so what that says, anything gross must have a sukshma. Science. Anything that manifests objectively as a material object, it has got a subtle form. Water is hydrogen and oxygen. In sukshma, hydrogen and oxygen. But if you go dwell deeper, the hydrogen oxygen becomes quantum particles and it goes into some undefined nuclei. Karanam. So therefore, everything has got a reason, the cause, comes out as subtle form and then manifests in the gross form. So the klesha I want to destroy, the gross form I'm going to destroy by Kriya Yoga. Now, therefore, when I destroy the gross form, it becomes a sthula form. Tat vrityeha. We saw that. Those vrittis are reduced in their gross nature, powdered into subtle nature, but they are heyaha. What is heya means? Heya is a very meta term for anything that needs to be given up. Heya means that you don't want. So dhyana heyas, dhyana, that means those vrityaha, those vrittis, heyaha, they have to be removed by dhyana. Okay. But what is dhyana? Patanjali has not taught us now. So we would wait for Patanjali to tell us. He's going to teach us as a part of the Ashtanga Yoga. We're going to see it later. But generally, we know dhyana means meditation, contemplation, upasana. This is more important part. Even Vedas, if you look at it, Vedas are compiled into 3 parts logically. Karma Kanta, the Veda Purva, Jnana Kanta, it's Veda Anta, Vedanta. But in between, the transition happens through Upasana Kanta. Don't think it, therefore, it is a blue book, red book, and green book. It's not like a division. This logical separation, but the Upasanas and Jnanams are spread across the board. So, but don't take it literally. In page 1 to 300 is Karma Kanda, like that now. Logically, the karma is given the priority, and how to do the karma is given in the Veda Purvas, and the karma prayojanams are given Veda Purvas. And if you only hold on to that to get the prayojanam, and then you form into this Purva Mimamsika thought that karma is good enough, you remember that Dakshan is a Puranic figure who was doing all the karmas according to scriptures, according to Vedas. If you do this, you will get this benefit. I do it. When it is like this, I don't need a God. Is it not? That's where he went wrongly anyway. But if you want to stuck there to have an eternal samsara, that's fine. But if you need to move towards this jnanam, you necessarily have to transit through, what is that? The middle chapter, upasana. Upa-asana. Upa means near. Asana means sitting. Sitting near who? Sitting near the truth, the God. That's why upasanas are there, slogans are there, prayers are there, mantras are there to worship God. Even if you take Gita, for example, Bhagavad Gita, if you take it in one, I'm just talking very loosely here. So there are 18 chapters, and the first 6 chapters talk about Arjuna. You have to do it, karma yoga, your job, karma. Then chapter 7 onwards, you talk about God and upasanas, and then you go up to jnana. It also says Tvam Padam in the first 6 chapter. Who am I? About myself. Tat Padam in the next 6 chapter. Vishwarupa Darshanam, God, Upasana. Who is God? Brahma. I am this, I am that, God says. Tat Pada Vichara. So I got who I am, who is God, and who is God and I, what's the relationship? So you can also read Bhagavad Gita in Vedantic perspective. Tattvamasi. What I'm therefore saying is, upasana, the other word of upasana is dhyana, is central to progress. That's why even the very high philosophers and the supreme of Advaitis, Ajatavadis, who says, I am God, still say, I'll pray to God. Because this transition is very important part. So therefore, don't have a misnomer just because you understand Vedanta in one perspective. Therefore, prayers are unnecessary, rituals are necessary. No, because this is necessary because this embodiment is like sitting with a monkey, He just jumps you, takes you away here and there. Unless you remove all the embodiments, you have no power. That's the reason why Dhyanam is important. So we are not going to talk about Dhyanam right now, but potentially we'll talk about it later. But here the principle is the Sukshma kleshas have to be reduced, removed, abandoned by Dhyana. So this is going to go in a way, but potentially going to transit from here to important Vedantic principles, next few sutras. In Vedanta, we deal about samsara. Moksha is liberation. There's no concept of liberation if there is no prison, imprisonment. Is it not? All these are duality. If there is no sukham, if there is no dukkham. Is it not? So therefore, samsaram, moksha means samsaram. So if moksha sadhanam is Vedanta means samsara nivritti is Vedanta. Therefore, you must talk about samsaram. Samsaram is, therefore it says, a continuous journey of suffering in some embodiment. This continuous journey is called samsara. The reason for samsara is called samskaras. And we learn samskaras are nothing but the propensities of intensities of very intense desires. But desires come from vrittis. Vrittis are thought modifications. Therefore, the vrittis become samskaras, become vrittis, become samskaras, and the effect is the samsara. All this is not new to you. We talked in Tattvabodha, we talked in our previous classes. So here, so far, Patanjali did not talk about karma siddhanta. He talked about what's called a klesha siddhanta. So now he's going to bring it to karma siddhanta and give us some clarity. I mean, this is why I think Patanjali Yoga Shastram is the right timing to study through before we take the advanced Vedantic concepts, because it is put the right perspective. So here he is, therefore he's saying, use the Kriya Yoga, make your gross afflictions into subtle. All of us should take a moment to think that you are absolutely certain what is being said, and you can use it. Okay, of course, you can take a guru and understand Kriya Yoga in great detail, but in principle, Kriya Yoga is about attitude changes, value changes, and to do that, you perform certain kriyas, vak tapas, kaya tapas, manas tapas. Vak tapas means hitam vata, satyam vata, swadhyayam. Kaya tapas means pratams, fastings, walking to the temple, karasevas, all this which gives you humility. So all that you know. By doing that, you would see your kleshas have they gone? No, they become subtle. They become subtle. Now Patanjali has told that they become subtle. Remember the example I gave you. Even an angry person, evil person, when he sleeps, he is very gentle. Because sleep is hiding it. His anger has become a sukshma. It bounces back. Same way, if you are not in dhyanam, if you're not in the satsang, if you somehow do not have this thoughts reverberating in your mind, you go for a holiday to West Africa and you're enjoying beach and somehow you start forgetting all this. That's the time the subtleness becoming, I can grow now. So that's the first step. Here he is telling, having done that, having progressed that path, start addressing the sukshma part by performing dhyanams. You visualize when you do dhyanam, this klesham. So we will learn it how to actually do it. No, you can take practically, you can take, but you must be prepared to accept that you have a problem. Yeah. You must take a problem, you take that problem, and then you identify the klesham of the problem. And by dhyanam, by pratiprasavam, we can make that to a seed form. Basically, you compress it Don't express it. Then once you compress it, you do a dhyanam on it, and then make it into a seed. Means it needs a lot more things to grow. That means before, and whenever I see you, I get angry. Now I made it so strong as a seed. I can see you, I can be in your presence, you can provoke me. Still it is not growing. I can do that. Then, in the supreme form of dhyana, when you go to samadhi level, by supplementing with the jnana of Vedanta, you create a fire in you, the tejas in you, the virtuousness in you. It roasts that seed. So this angry seed gets roasted. The jealous seed gets roasted. The lustful desires get roasted. You start roasting it one at a time, maybe a few at a time. As you progress it, you got a bag full of roasted seeds. Well, do I then become a dull person, to be recluse? No. Why should you be? Because you still have senses. You still know to enjoy life, but nothing affects you. So this is what the purpose of dhyana. So this you should understand very clearly. Now he is going to talk about samsara a little bit more. If you don't do this dhyana, even though you do Kriya Yoga, and then what happens is, this sukshma part is going to create some impact on you. That impact is called samsara. It says, klesha mulaha karmashayo drishta adishta janma vedaniyaha. This is Sutra 12. It's an interesting one. So here we can see it in a three form. Klesha mulaha karmashayo drishta janma vedaniyaha. So vedaniyaha means experienced, indulged, facing with, dealing with. Generally Veda means to know. Here vedaniya means experiencing it. What am I experiencing it? Janma vedaniyaha. Janma means embodiment, birth. So I'm experiencing the birth. How? Drishta adrishta. Drishta means seen. You know it. Adrishta means unseen. In other words, you can read it like drishta janma vedaniyaha. Adrishta janma vedaniyaha. That means I see two things. What are the two things? I experience a known world experiences. Drishta janma vedaniyaha. Do you need a proof for it? No. Everyday life. Sukha dukkha comes in this world. You're experiencing it. We are in the drishta janma. But there is an adrishta janma. So Patanjali, therefore, here reinforces a law that there is a reincarnation for you. There is something that, see, we are not going to talk about it right now. We talked in Vedanta because there's a compelling proof why there must be a next janma or a previous janma. Contemplate on it. So I will not go on this. Contemplate on it. So here, therefore, there are two things. I will have to experience drishta janma. Therefore, I have a reason now to believe for all my sukha dukkhams in this janma, klesham is a moolam. So klesha moolaha drishta janma vedaniya. Okay, I'm already experiencing it. I have no choice. The seed has grown. You know, it's no more prasuttam. It is udharana. So it is already flourishing. I'm enjoying suffering. Adrishta janma vedaniya. That means I am going to again have a body. Who knows? I may be a buffalo. I may be an ass. I may be a horse. I may be a deva. I may be black, white, yellow. I don't know. But we thought from Vedanta, all this is the second word, karma shaya. Whatever we say, if you're suffering, we say, you're prarabdha karma. That means you've done something bad. Therefore, we always associate a result with an action. Therefore, we can say karmam is the cause for the drishta adishta janma vedini. Ashaya means, we already discussed that. Ashayam means to be inhabited in a place where something is already there. No, that's what ashayam. It's not an empty place. Something is already there. If you want to go in, you have to pop in there. That place is called ashayam. So the karmam is coming and take refuge in a place where something already exists. What is something already exists? The Chaitanyam, I. This embodiment in which I dwell. Ashayam. Atmashayam. So because there's a space, karma comes in, get inside. It's just a literal meaning of it. But what Patanjali says, klesha moola. Klesham is the moolam for it. Now, a number of ways this can be split, like, Vijnana Bhikshu or Vasudhana Saraswati, all this, they take klesha, moola, they split into two. So the moolam for klesham is what? Is all your anger, bad qualities. Because of that, your vritti become klesham. Then they take the klesham as pure grief-giving nature. Therefore, the grief-giving nature comes from your anger. But let's go with what we learned. We take klesha moola as a viseshanam, as an adjective. The klesha moolam, I mean the pancha klesham, is what is causing the karmashya. It's more logical. Of course, you can say it both ways. Karmams create this janmams, but the karmams are creating janmam because those karmas are created with the klesham. That's how we should see it. Which means, a very important insight here, which means, I know that I have to work hard. Even the begging person, you will say, why are you begging? You go and work and I'll give you money. Because we want everybody to be contributing, right? Karma. Karma is a dharma. Therefore, let karma be the cause of our janma palan. But we are going to learn that janma palan becomes samsara. Therefore, how to do karma but not have janma palan? Then we must see what causes the karma to cause the janma palan. That is klesha. That means if you do a karma without klesha, it's called akarma. It's purely called kriya. For another word of kriya yoga is you do karma without any klesha. Aklesha karma kriya. God does not do karma to create the world. God created world. Kriya Shakti. Kriya Shakti has no klesha. So you see the difference there. So we take the karma moola. So see the literal meaning. Klesha moola, having the affliction as its roots, is karma shaya. Now, since we know the last sutra, we know the karma shaya is actually the cause of creating janma, which is in the sukshma form. Why do we say that? Because we are already weakening that through Kriya Yoga. If we are still getting janma, which means it's because of the samskaras, vasanas. So here, therefore, karma shaya, you can also take as a vasanas. Therefore, klesha moolaka, vasano, drashta, drishta, janma. You can write the sutra like that, so there's no problem. So drishta, drishta, janma, we saw that. So therefore, you can see here the klesha moolaka is the cause, according to Patanjali, and it makes a logical sense. Therefore, if you take this approach, when you go to Vedanta, to remove this samsara, we must remove the karmashayam, which means we must remove the klesham. But Vedanta did not give us any tool for klesha removal. That's why the Guru said, get a sabbatical, go to Patanjali, do the Panchaklesha Nivritti. So therefore it's all logical. Because karma shame is a nature. Therefore, in our view, therefore, now we say in a bigger picture, karma is not the cause. Karma is our nature. Now, if you understand this, you will not say, if somebody is suffering, you say that is prarabdha karma, he has to suffer. You will not go. Because what is your nature? Your karma used to help him out. This is the very subtle understanding we need in the karma siddhanta. Normally we say, somebody suffers, it's a very, the karma siddhantam is a very important to understand. The law of karma is a healer. Law of karma, what does it tell you? You suffer your consequences of your action. So if you take that in good faith, it gives you the power of responsibility. You don't find fault in somebody else. It is you that take responsibility. The moment you take responsibility, nobody is enemy to you. Right? Now, if I take responsibility of an action that caused me, then I must undo that action. Every action got a reaction. Pratiprasavam is there. Therefore, it will propel me to go to the path in which I can undo it. See? But I try it, I undo it, but I'm not seeing the result. I've been trying this for the last 10 years. I'm not seeing the result. I'm still suffering. Then it tells you, don't worry about it, because the suffering is actually, without you knowing it, reducing it, you do not know what suffering is in store for you. Therefore, be blessed. But your lifespan is not a beginning and end, because you are unlimited Chaitanya. You will never die, but you exist in different form. Therefore, you continue to do your dharma. Therefore, karma becomes your very nature. See, you must have the understanding to understand Bhagavad Gita. And Bhagavan says, give up all the karma. He's going to say in 17th chapter, he builds all these wonderful stories and giving Arjuna step by step, esoteric concepts, Vedantam, Upashanam, to what to eat, eat less salt, eat less sugar, less chili. He goes to all this. And then he's going to finally finish up saying that, give up all this. He's not telling you to give up karma. Give up all the karma share. Give up all the klesha. Because be in your own nature. Because if he has to give up all the karma, why is he coming and running a chariot for somebody? Is it not? Why does a tree fruits? Why does the sun shines? It's a very nature. So this is a lot of insight. So I think what you should do, you should take one of your issues, one of your klesha, affliction, and say, I'm going to deal with this. And then I'm going to look at that klesha and say, what does the klesha moolaka causes what karma I do? I did. Better take a past one. What I did. How it caused the effect. Now, how am I going to suppress it? By dhyana. So therefore here he is giving, if you take everything to the klesha moolam, then you are able to deal with this. Then the effect is the drishta janma, adrishta janma. So the domain of karma as a root in the afflictions, the kleshas, that are to be endured in the present life and maybe in the future life. Now, therefore you have now life, a past life, and there's a present life, and there's a future life. You got three parts now. You have no argument against it, right? Because you understood this. Think in your mind. I'm not going to answer it now. Think in your mind, what is the most important part for this three? And what you should do in dealing with these three concepts, the past life, the present life, and the future life. Where is your focus should be? What do I need to do in dealing with this? This is a very important point because many times we don't understand the differences. And we dwell in the, like in a baseball story, the guy wants to find a real stupid guy. He wanders around and if you see somebody is searching for something under the street lamp, so the baseball goes and helps him out. And after a while, nothing was found. And he said, I couldn't find anything. What were you searching? I said, I lost my ring. He said, right. Okay. He searches again. I couldn't find it. Where exactly did you lose it? I lost it over there on the dark bush. I said, why are you searching here? He said, then he calls him a stupid. I said, Birbal, don't you know? You must always search under the light. How stupid it is. So that's why we take a contextual truth to be the eternal truth, and we do things in a very good way, very honest way, but with viparita jnana. This is where you need gurus. God cannot help you, right? So if you tell God and say, look, my life has been so miserable, make me, take me to heaven, and says, well, I can take you to heaven if you do good things. Make me do good things. Yeah, I give you everything to do good things, but you don't do good things because you have kleshas. So God cannot help you. So only we can help ourselves. But what I'm saying is, experiment with this. So just to challenge, to prove these things, take a klesha and just take that as your dhyana karo. Okay. Next one. Sati mule tat vipako jatyayur bhogaha. Interesting one. So here he is saying, okay, now you know the klesha. Klesha is giving you the adhishta janma and drishta janma. You have to endure it. How you endure it? Sati. Sat means existence. Sati means that existing. Having existed, being there. What is that being there? Mule, that mule. Sati mule means that moolam, that cause being there. What does it cause? The panchaklesha, affliction. Well, I did Kriya Yoga. Yes, but it becomes sukshma. It's still there as a seed. To make it completely ineffective, the seed has to be roasted. I have not done it. Therefore, the root is still there. So sati mule means having got that sukshma kleshas, that one, those kleshas, vipakaka, they will sprout into big trees and give fruits, the palam. What palam it will give? You know it very well, because this is all going to karma, shaya. Karma gives you raga, dvesha. So shogam, moham, ragam, all that going to come. But here Patanjali is going by step. They're going to give you jati, ayur, bhogaha. Jati, ayuhu, bhogaha. It is going to give you, jati is not caste system. No, jati, the root is to birth. Jati here means being born, being embodied, taking a life form. But then he qualifies next of certain duration. Ayuhu means lifespan. Imagine I'm born from my mother's womb, and as soon as I come to the world, I died. I escaped, right? I have nothing to do, nothing to worry. But I've given a lifespan. Ayuhu. What is this the oil for? What is this lifespan for? Bhogaha. Bhogaha means, normally we take bhogam means enjoyment, Literally bhogaha means that to be experienced. Sukha bhogam is right thing. Sukha bhogam is a happy enjoyment. Dukkha bhogam is sad enjoyment. So bhogam generally means experience. Since we always seeking sukha, we take bhogam and sukha, but understandable. So therefore, If somebody says, you live long life means what they are telling you is experience many things in life. So, therefore, when you accept somebody's blessing that I will have a long life, you're accepting the responsibility that I'm going to face many ordeals in life. The Digaj means not you're going to live happily, because that is, again, your responsibility. But if they're giving you a fantastic chance to understand the truth of life. Therefore, you live long. So Patanjali therefore put that a long life is a result of the Janma Bhogam that is coming from the Klesha. Very, very simple sutra. Therefore, we can say the root is Klesha or Karmashaya, whichever you take it. You are being born in this life with a prarabdha karma, and there is another life waiting for you to be heard. Okay. Now I got this life. What happened? It says, again a simple sutra, te klada paritapa palaha punya punya hetuvat. Te klada paritapa palaha punya punya hetuvat. Okay. Te means that. So sutra, alpaksham. So you need to connect to the previous one. What is the previous one? Janma, Ayur, Bhogaka. So those Janma, lifespan, birth, lifespan, and the experience of life, those things are, what are they doing to you? Khlada. Khlada is a nice term. Khlada means delightful, joyful, pleasant. Prahladan, no Prahlada. Prah means forever. Prahladan means forever happy. He is lucky guy because in his mother's womb, the mom has given him Brahmajnanam. Panchaklesha Nivritti is done. Everything he does when he's born, everything is akarma. No bandha. Anyway, here Khlada. Khlada means happiness, joy. Paritapa. Tapam means fire, anguish. Generally, tapa means heat. Pari means around. Imagine around you create fire and you sit in between. So how you suffer. That's why when you see somebody's paritapa means your empathy on the person is that this person is suffering so much. So hlada, paritapa, palaha. Bahuvachanam, palaha. Many experiences will come to you because it's in plural. This experience is going to give you what? Khlada, paritapa. It's going to make you delightful and happy and joyful. It's going to make you really suffer anguish. So therefore, no complaint. This is the nature of things. Never ever, therefore, we should complain that I'm suffering, because we don't complain when we are enjoying it. You can talk about it, you can find a cure about it, but don't complain, because complain means as if that you have something which doesn't belong to you. But life is that. Khlada paritapam is a palam that you get for the embodied life. Let's see the meaning of it. So those embodied life form, paritapa. Now, punya, apunya. So he's going to say, you can say punya papa, but he says punya, apunya. He always says apunya. So it's a very interesting one. So he doesn't even want to say the word papa, but he says that you always do punya karya. Never think of apunya karya. You can't do anything neutral unless you are a karma yogi. So when you do the punya karyam, meritorious act, virtuous act, rightful act, or you do the apunya karyam, sinful acts, these two, this is the, all this is we discussed. This is the karma, law of karma. The punya accumulates right things, papa gets bad things, and then they all mix together, and then they make this. See, this happening for even for great science, you know. You can see in Puranas, one small step, wrong step, somebody do, you know, Shabam, you come down. Bhagavan says, Vishaya vinirvartande niraharasti dehina. Rasavarjam rasopis. In chapter 2, he says, you know, you may do control your mind. Rasavarjam, varjam means dried up. Rasa means all these sensual pleasures, you know. Rasavarjam, you may have controlled your mind. You might have free of all this lustful desires, taste, but the rasam still stays in your mind. That's why, you know, Menaka goes and, you know, the great penance that saint is doing, and she dances it, and he lost her mind to her. Narada goes and he get charanam, he born in earth. So this is not, you know, all this story, take all the Puranas. This is what happening, because they do very pious things, but they fall down. You know, he does a penance for so many years, and then God comes in front. The first thing he does, how can I live for long? Because he got bhaya. What happened to all this knowledge? You are eternal. Because the sukshma klesham is still there. So this is important. Therefore, the paritapa palam or ahlada palam is coming because of the punya acts which come from the klesham. You may have some thoughts in your mind. Well, I also get this shukam because the klesham gives you all that, because I had a hladam. How about I just pick and choose, you know? Well, I know that this gives you both. Let me just pick up all those hladas, delightful things, because they are coming from the klesha. Therefore, why are you saying klesha is wrong? Remove it. It's giving me happiness. I can just keep the happiness. I can do all the good things all the time and be happy, whatever. It's a very interesting question. I need a good answer that as well. So here, the root, therefore, is the life experience, the joy and the grief. It says burning grief is all part of the given. It's like a two-sided coin. You know, if you have to have a coin, you must have to. In other words, no, I can give a preempt answer, because in Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta, until you attain that Advaita Anubhuti, in Dvaita Bhavam, there's always two things. When there are two things, there's always fear, always grief. Therefore, like Sukham exists, that grief exists as well. We don't need to eradicate grief. This is what I understand. I want to share that with you, because every time we try to find a way to remove the grief by removing the object of experience or the process of experience or the impediments to the experience or the players of the experience, because we find problem somewhere. No. Let there be grief, but the grief exists because I say I suffer. Suffering has no leg to stand. It always leans on asmita. I, suffering comes. If you remove I, there is no suffering. I'm not saying in a verbatim way, you know. I have to say I have headache. If I remove I, well, I can't say I have a headache, but still I have a headache. I'm not playing that word game. What I'm saying is, in a practical way, to start with, is that we don't need to eradicate grief in eradicating the objects of experience, but we eradicate grief by handling grief as if it doesn't belong to us. Like when you play Monopoly with your children, the child will cry when you take away her money, and you laugh and you lose your money. Loss is the same, but you handle the grief, the loss very differently because you know everything will pass. Now, see, this is the Vedanta Jnanam you need to nurture it, to burn the seed. So when we do Dhyanam, we must carry this beacon of light to a Dhyanam. If you go to the Dhyanam, to say, I do Dhyanam on Lord Ganesha, he will come and then I'm going to ask him to give me these benefits. Of course, he will do, and you must do it. It will give you good things. But that is not going to take you away from samsara. It is going to give you hlada paritapa phalaka. You don't have punya, but there will be a corresponding, because life has to balance. Punya means there is not a center ground. This is also very, it's a verge of it to understand. Like one says, kill him. He's just showing one after the other. Kill him. No. And he said, how can it be? How Krishna asked him to kill him? Kill others. Ahimsa. And the same Bhagavan is trying to help an ant that is falling into the water and take him out. What's happening there? Now that is very difficult to understand and judge from a level of Laukika knowledge where you don't understand that the punya phalam that you get is from your actions. When you are not needing those phalams, then it becomes a game. It becomes a sport. It becomes, in Tamil we say Thiruvilayadal, the divine play of the God. This is Devi Bhagavatam, Ambali goes there and, he Kabaligaram just takes out all this world and eat everything inside. Just because she's powerful, is it okay to kill people? Even Shakti was confused about this. This is what I'm saying. This is Sarvanishta is always needed. When Alala Kalavisham comes to Lord Shiva, he's going to gulp it. And Sati, Parvati fights it. Oh my God, he's going to take it. And I know he will survive. He is Sarveshwara. But in his inside, the whole world lives. And then what will happen? Mortality. That enactment also a divine sport to tell us that, look, even when you have the divine powers, when you do not really remove this ajnanam or vibrita jnanam, you will think mortality exists. So, okay, I just digressed it completely. I know it's not needed, but what I'm trying to say, therefore, the insight of this sutra is, don't expect I just do the dhyana, when I come out of it, I don't have any more grief. No, even if I have, even Patanjali comes out of it, if you go and hit him with the stick, his body is going to be painful. Lakshmana fainted in the war. Everybody, you will, if you're embodied soul, you will have the pain. You will have the paritapam. How you handle it. That is where you become a balanced person or not. So therefore, when you are in that position, there's no choice that I will not do any. Don't take a misunderstanding though. Therefore, I don't need to do punya. I don't need to do punya. Therefore, I will be like a dead stone. No, you cannot do without doing anything. You do things, but you do not worry about whether it is a punya or a punya. But you always do the right thing. So it's not that you would not do anything. But you do everything without, again, it is coming back to the pure karma yoga. Ishvara prasad. You don't even expect the prasad. This is even one step ahead, because you go to the Swami and then you do 80 pence, you buy a coconut in Tesco and just break it twice and say, well, I broke coconuts. Don't be lottery funding, totally unfair deal we make with God. And all that doesn't work. So this is what he said. So I think I'll probably stop it here so that this is the next one. So let's take the Shanti part. Om Asadoma Sadgamaya.
Om Asatoma Sadgamaya.
Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya.
Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya.
Mrityoma Amridam Gamaya.
Mrityorma Amritamgamaya.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om
Hari Om Tassat.
Thank you.
Namaskar. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you both of you.